السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ولي الصالحين وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله الصادق الأمين وحبيب المسلمين. Praise be to Allah, Lord of all the worlds. The ultimate outcome, the ultimate victory belongs only to the God-fearing, the righteous. There is no aggression except against the oppressors. And I witness that there are no other gods, no one to serve and obey unconditionally, let alone worship, but Allah Almighty alone, without partner. He is the guardian of the righteous. And I witness that Muhammad is the messenger of God, the honest and trustworthy, and the beloved of the Muslims. يقول الله ذو الجلال والإكرام في كتابه الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. Allah answers the big question. He says very succinctly why He created us. He tells us what is our purpose of existence when He said, I have created jinn and humans only to worship me. وقال الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Allah tells us, O believers, have taqwa of Allah, be mindful of Allah, be conscious of Allah, be aware of Allah, fear Allah, love Allah, His full right to have taqwa of Him, and do not die except that your status is in submission to His will. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق. Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم summarized the entire mission, the entire movement of Islam in one simple phrase when he said, I was sent to perfect and complete good manners. وقال الله تعالى عن الخاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين. And Allah said about the role of His final prophet and messenger when He said, we have sent you, O Prophet, only as a mercy for the whole world. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us a khalifa, an ambassador, an agent of the mercy for the whole world. Allahumma ameen. My dear brothers and sisters, in today's khutbah, we'll be talking about get comfortable being uncomfortable. And get uncomfortable being comfortable. Brothers and sisters, how do we define success? We work hard to acquire the symbols of success. We want to look like that we're having a comfortable lifestyle. So we get the Tesla or the BMW, that's a symbol of success. The paid off house with the white picket fence. the happy-looking family. We're told if we study hard, you get a good paying career, as long as the money is coming in to pay off the loan or the debt, to pay the installment plan on my comfortable lifestyle, then I am successful. And therefore I am blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the mentality. Having a steady job, a nice home, a nice car, a comfortable lifestyle can be a blessing. But it is not the litmus test of success, brothers and sisters. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, الْمَالُ وَالْبَنُونَ زِينَةُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَالْبَاقِيَاتُ الصَّالِحَاتُ خَيْرٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ وَثَوَابًا وَخَيْرٌ أَمَلًا. Wealth and children are the adornment, they are the beauty, they are the comfort, they are the luxury of this worldly life. They are the enjoyment of this worldly life. But the everlasting good deeds are far better with your Lord in reward and in hope. In fact, the Quran tells us the criteria for success, and it doesn't make mention of the comfortable lifestyle anywhere. In fact, every one of the criterias are uncomfortable. When Allah tells us in the first 11 verses of Surah Al-Mu'minun, this is our take home. This is your assignment from now to until next week's khutbah. This is your assignment to keep your battery charged. Look at the Quran, look up Surah Al-Mu'minun, the first 11 verses. When Allah tells us, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ, successful indeed are the believers. الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ, those who humble themselves in prayer. Let's start right there. Those who have khushu' in prayer, those who are feeling it in salah. Allah is way past having to meet the requirement of praying 5 times a day in this ayah. Allah is past that. Allah is telling us to find the sweetness of salah. You want to be successful in the akhirah? Find the sweetness of salah. Find that serenity. Find that peace. When you find that, that's one characteristic. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ, those who avoid idle talk, those who do not engage in gossip, those who do not share their commentary or opinion on, frankly, something that doesn't concern them, none of their business, right? And it's not just the tongue, by the way. This day and age, it's about what our fingers are typing. The age of social media, your likability, that is the currency. Your likes, your comments, the shares, the number of views on TikTok and Instagram and X and what have you. This is the currency. And how do you get those currency? You talk about what people are talking about. Even though you may not have any expertise on the subject, but that's how you get credibility. That's how you stay relevant. Allah is telling us, stay away from all of that to be successful. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ, and those who are paying their zakah. Those who are going out, working hard for a living and giving up a portion of their hard-earned money to purify their wealth, because we understand that this money doesn't belong to us to begin with. This money is a trust from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He wrote for us some 50,000 years before He created the heavens and earth and you and me. He already wrote for us every single penny we're going to get and when we're going to get it. And so Allah is telling us those who are successful are those who purify their wealth by giving zakah, to let it go. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. In this postmodern liberalism paradigm that we're in these days, when it's all about the satisfying the individual, making the individual happy. I'm the center of my universe. I worship myself. I have to make sure I am happy at all times by doing what I want, when I want, where I want, and as much as I want. And of course, one of the primary wants is fulfilling your sexual desires. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spends 3 verses talking about how to fulfill your sexual desires. No, 3, not just 1. Those who guard their chastity. إِلَّا عَلَىٰ أَزْوَاجِهِمْ أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ. Except for their wives or their bondswomen, in their possession, then they are free from blame. فَمَنِ ابْتَغَى وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْعَادُونَ. But whoever seeks beyond that, then they are transgressing. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. The believers are also those who are true to their trusts and covenants. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَوَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ. Allah brings it back full circle to salah. Salah is the contract between us as Muslims, the contract between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It does not mean prayer, by the way. Salah, linguistically, comes from sila, which means connection. It is with your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ describes salah as the contract between the Muslim and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do we feel when we don't have Wi-Fi? How do we feel when we don't have data? How do we feel when the tower shuts down and suddenly I'm not getting my emails, I'm not getting my updates, I'm not getting my notifications on social media, I'm not getting my stock updates? How do you feel? You feel lost, you feel disconnected, you feel like you're wandering aimlessly. Do we feel the same way about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This is with the salah. And so every one of these brothers and sisters, this makes us, it's uncomfortable. It goes against what we want to do. But what is the reward? What is the character? What is the quality of these people? أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْوَارِثُونَ. These are the ones who will be awarded. They will be the inheritors. Inheritors of what? Paradise. الَّذِينَ يَرِثُونَ الْفِرْدَوْسِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. It is not just getting into Jannah, which is our goal, inshallah. It is not just getting into Jannah. It is getting to the highest level in Jannah, the top real estate in Jannah, the premium real estate, the penthouse in Jannah, the VIP of Jannah, the honeymoon suite in Jannah. That's what we want. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us the formula to how to be successful to achieve that. How do we define success? Are we going to struggle are we going to be uncomfortable to seek that comfortable life in the akhirah? This is the question we need to ask ourselves, brothers and sisters. In fact, comfort can be and often is the test itself in this life, brothers and sisters. When Allah tells us, إِنَّمَا أَمْوَالَكُمْ وَأَوْلَادَكُمْ فِتْنَةٌ, these things that we are seeking comfort in, our children, our families, our wealth, our property, our real estate, our assets, Allah says that these are a fitna for us. These are a test. وَاللَّهُ عِنْدَهُ أَجْرٌ عَظِيمٌ. But Allah alone has a great reward. We just passed the Hajj season in Eid al-Adha, in which we commemorated the sacrifices of Ibrahim and Ismail alayhimus salam. Talk about being uncomfortable. Sacrificing what is most dear to you, to demonstrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that nothing is more dear to you than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah asked of Ibrahim and Ismail alayhimus salam to sacrifice what was most dear to them. Are we ready to do the same thing? Are we ready to sacrifice the most precious thing in our lives to demonstrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that nothing comes between us and Him? We have to ask ourselves, what is the Ismail in our life? Because brothers and sisters, any goal, anything worth achieving in this life requires getting uncomfortable. It requires sacrifice. When you want more money, what do? You study harder, you get a better job, you get up early, you stay late, you work longer hours, you try to work smarter, you re-strategize. If you're trying to work on your fitness, you go into a calorie deficit diet, you withhold on not eating what you want to eat or not as much. You go to the gym, you tear your muscles so that your muscles can be rebuilt. You do some cardio, you work up a sweat. This part of the khutbah really is for me. I've been working on losing, alhamdulillah, like since November I lost 35 pounds. I need to lose another 80, but my doctor's telling me. So this part I'm just holding myself accountable. But I got to get uncomfortable to achieve these goals. Otherwise I'm just going to be a couch potato, right? Brothers and sisters, we do this also with our own children. We require, dare I say, we even force our children to wake up for school. There are repercussions if they don't do their homework. We find a way for our children to take the medicine when they're sick, even if they don't want it. We do this because we think it's important and so that they will find success in this life. We tell ourselves it's worth it because we're going to go towards success. But brothers and sisters, tell me why we put the condition that our lives have to be comfortable in order to be blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That will only obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands when it's convenient. We often hear Muslims say, I don't force my child to pray. School is starting in just a week, in a couple of weeks. Are we in contact with the teachers about making sure our children are praying while they're in school? That we're pulling, especially our young boys, they're men, according to Islam, when they reach puberty, khalas, they're accountable. Are we pulling our children out from school to go to attend Jum'ah with us? Brothers and sisters, I'm a product of public school. I grew up here in Dallas, Texas. I can tell you from firsthand experience that you can do it. It's a little inconvenient. It is. But you leave class for a few minutes in the middle of the day, and on Jum'ah you miss one class every week. You make up the work, but you do it. Why? Because Allah said so. Get comfortable getting uncomfortable. You can do it. It's an inconvenience, sure, but what does it take? It takes a letter and a signature. That's it. This is just one example, brothers and sisters. No one ever said that living up to Allah's minimum requirements was going to be convenient. But that is the test. We have to choose between what is right and what is easy or convenient. Because what is right is oftentimes difficult or uncomfortable. Look at the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. He was known as a Sadiq al-Amin. He was literally the safe deposit box for his enemies because they trusted him when it came to their money. He was the spoiled child of Mecca. When did his troubles start? When he started saying, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. When he started saying that, he started standing up for justice, started standing up for equality. He stood up against the injustices in his society. When he started saying that cheating in business is wrong and killing your baby girls is wrong and speaking truth, even if it's against the powerful against you, to love your neighbor, to give charity to the poor, take care of the orphans. All these things caused trouble in Mecca. When did his troubles end? It didn't. It didn't until his very last breath. Why? Because that's the requirement. That's what it takes. That's the only way you're going to grow, brothers and sisters. The only way we're going to grow, because Islam makes falsehood uncomfortable. When you stand up for Islam, when you stand up for what is truth, people are going to get uncomfortable. Look at what's happening right now in Gaza. Look what's happening right now in Bangladesh. Look what's happening here in the United States. When people are standing up for speaking truth, when people are standing up and speaking truth to power, yeah, they're getting uncomfortable. But they do it because khalas, they understand that there is a moral value that they have subscribed to. And whatever material losses they're going to have in this world, oh well, so what? That's the cost. That's the price I pay. So what? We may give up some money. Maybe you can give up your jobs. Maybe even your career. What's the worst thing you're going to give up? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَلَمْنُوَرَكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالنَّفْسِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشَّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. We will certainly test you with all the comfortable aspects of our life. It's fear, safety and security. It's your food source. It's your property. It's your wealth. It's your life. It's your everything. Allah's going to test us with all of these things. Did you stand up for truth? Did you stand up for what is right? But then Allah tells us, give good news to those who patiently endure. بَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ صَلَوَاتٌ مِّن رَّبِّهِمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُهْتَدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us those when they are struck by disaster, they're struck by calamity, they say, surely to Allah we belong and to Him we return. These are the people who receive Allah's blessings and mercy, and they are the ones who are rightly guided. This is when we're scrolling on TikTok, when we're scrolling on Instagram and Facebook and X and everywhere else, we're seeing the horrendous footage of our brothers and sisters. And we make dua for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, gives them victory and sends them relief. We see that they themselves are holding their dead child's hand, their dead child's head on their chest. They're holding their own babies and they're saying, "Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Hasbi Allahu wa ni'mal wakil." Meanwhile, our own children here, when they're scrolling, they say, "How can there be a merciful God if He allows something like this to happen?" The ones who are actually going through it have more faith and conviction with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than the ones who are comfortable reclining on their chairs and their beds as they're scrolling and looking, and they're questioning God's existence over this. From where to where, brothers and sisters? Get comfortable being uncomfortable. We have to address these issues, brothers and sisters. We have to address these issues. And I close the first khutbah with this point. When the Prophet ﷺ foretold us that this was going to happen, the Prophet ﷺ was talking to the Sahaba and he told them that a time will come when people will call each other to attack you Muslims as a people, to everybody have a slice of the pie. And the Sahaba responded saying, "Ya Rasulullah, are we going to be low in numbers?" He said, "No, you'll be many. You'll be many, but you'll be like the foam of the sea." And why is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove the fear of the Muslims from the people who oppose you? And Allah will and wahan will be in your hearts. And what is wahan, brothers and sisters? The Prophet ﷺ answered that question. He said, the love of this world, the comfort of this world, and the dislike of death. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لكم فاستغفروه فيتوب المستغفرين. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد النبي الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين والعاقبة للمتقين. Brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala requires us, or wants of us, I should say, to not just get into Jannah, but to get into Al-Firdaus Al-A'la. It is to struggle. It is to get to that higher level. So if you find yourself being comfortable, go to the next level. If you're struggling keeping up with your 5 daily prayers, start there. If you already have your 5 daily prayers locked down, do them in the masjid. If you're doing your 5 daily prayers in the masjid, then make sure you do at least the 12 rak'ah of sunnah every day. And preferably do them at home like the Prophet ﷺ did. Get up in the middle of the night, get up in the last third of the night, do tahajjud. There's always room for improvement, brothers and sisters. That's the point. There's always room for improvement. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. When you reach that next level, work harder on yourself. Work harder on yourself so you always improve. Brothers and sisters, how do we get to the next level? The Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. He tells us you'll never achieve righteousness, you'll never achieve that level until you give from what you cherish. Not what you give sparingly, but until you give from what you cherish. We have to make a sacrifice of something that you want or maybe even need for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Brothers and sisters, I'm here today with Bayan Islamic Graduate School. It's one of the many worthy causes out there right now. This is my organization I'm working with. We started in 2011. What we're doing is we are offering accredited master's and doctorate degrees so that our imams, leaders, youth directors, teachers, principals, community activists, and others, they are getting professional training so they can address the issues that our young people are dealing with in the society. I mentioned earlier that they are going in droves, questioning the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 23%, Pew Research, 23% of young people who are raised in a Muslim family do not even identify as Muslim by the time they're adults in college age. There are 4,000 universities in the country. About 150 have a chaplain on site that is a Muslim that can offer Islamic spiritual guidance on site. Brothers and sisters, as we are seeking the comfort of this life and a comfortable lifestyle, we're losing our youth, we're losing the next generation. And we need to invest in our leaders so that they can help us lead our community, lead our youth, so that they can take their impact to the next level, so that our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren can walk around with their heads held up high, with their chests out, their back straight, with their Muslim identity intact, saying, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadun Rasulullah, and they mean it. That they stand up for truth and justice. That they understand that Islam is something that the world needs. It is the solution. It is the last solution that to be offered for this world's problems. We have the solution in our hands. We just need to convey the message correctly. And what we're doing at Bayan, we're giving our leaders the tools that they need to be able to do their jobs better, to convey Islam in a way that is meaningful and relevant to our communities, to our young people. So after the salah, please stop by the table on your way out. Give him your zakah, give him your sadaqah. Invest in the scholarship fund. We have 150 students that are going to be enrolled next semester. Give generously, brothers and sisters. Give generously. This will be a sadaqah jariyah for you, inshallah. And inshallah, you'll see the reward for it continuously, inshallah, on the Day of Judgment when you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, brothers and sisters, there's some dua requests. Dua al-shifa. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give shifa to our sister Rida. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give her a complete, full and speedy recovery, inshallah. Where there's dua al-maghfirah for our sister, a young sister who suddenly passed away. She leaves behind a husband and a young toddler. Her name is Sister Sara Voda Hassan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for her complete maghfirah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower His mercy and forgiveness upon her, and to make her grave a garden of the garden of paradise, and to make her accountability easy. And inshallah, and her rank will be in the highest place of Al-Jannah. And also a general dua for victory for our brothers and sisters in Gaza, in Bangladesh right now, and in every other place around the world where Muslims are suffering and they are fighting for victory. Allahumma ja'alna mimman yastami'una al-qawla fayattabi'una ahsana. Rabbana dhalamna anfusana wa lam taghfir lana wa tarhamna lanakunanna min al-khasirin. Rabbana ighfir lana wa li ikhwanina alladhina sabaquna bil iman. Rabbana wa la taj'al fi qulubina ghillan lil ladhina amanu. Rabbana innaka ra'ufur rahim. Rabbana ighfir lana dhunubana wa kaffir 'anna sayyi'atina وتوفنا مع الأبرار. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان وجعلنا اللهم من الراشدين. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين أجمعين وارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين أجمعين. اللهم من أراد بالإسلام والمسلمين خيرا فوفقه إلى كل خير، ومن أراد بالإسلام والمسلمين شرا فخذه أخذا عزيزا مقتدر، إنك ولي ذلك والقادر عليه. اللهم عليك بالظالمين، اللهم عليك بالظالمين، اللهم عليك بالظالمين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في غزة وفي باقي فلسطين وفي بنغلاديش وفي كل مكان ينادون باسمك يجاهدون لله حق جهاد في سبيلك. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا نسينا واخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به. واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا. أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. عباد الله, O servants of Allah, إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى. Indeed, Allah commands justice, grace, as well as courtesy to close relatives. وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي. He forbids indecency, wickedness, and aggression. يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. He instructs you so perhaps you'll be mindful. وأقيموا الصلاة. Brothers, please move forward. Inshallah, make room for brothers in the back.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
Bismillah. There we go. استووا اعتدلوا يرحمني ويرحمكم الله. Focus and pray as though it's your last prayer. صلوا صلاة مودع. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Brothers and sisters, again, my name is Ayman Taleb. I'm here with Bayan Islamic Graduate School. Please stop by the table, inshallah, and support the scholarship fund for our institution. We have 150 students that can be enrolled, inshallah, this coming fall. All of them are leaders all across the country, and 70% of them are on scholarships. So we need your support to keep the scholarship funded so that we can, inshallah, make a real impact to preserve Islam with our communities and with the generations to come, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Allah from all of you. Jazakumullah khair.
Assalamu alaikum. Few key announcements. We have a dollar a day campaign